Okay, let's look at how to graph exponential functions. So the first thing is looking at our exponential formula. F of x equals a times b to the x. The way you know it's exponential is x is the exponent. A stands for our starting amount or the y-intercept. B stands for our growth or decay factor. And you know it's growth if the B value is bigger than 1. You know it's decay if it's between 0 and 1. Okay, so our starting amount is always where our y-intercept is. So if we look at this one, we know this is A, this is B. So our starting amount is 3. So that's where we're going to start on our y-axis, right here. Okay, let's go ahead and fill in this. Initial value is 3. Y-intercept is 0, 3. We know it is growth because our B value is 2, which is bigger than 1. So this is growth. We're going to look at our change of Y values, then we're going to go through the rest of this. So we can use Desmos or we can use the calculator. So I'm going to show you the calculator on the first one, Desmos on the second one. So let's go to our calculator. Go to Y equals. Let's put that equation in. 3 parentheses 2 times x. Go ahead and put that in. Okay, so hit graph. So we know it's growth. We can see that. We want to get some points. So an easy way to get points is going to second graph, which is the table. So write that down. Just to help you remember. Second graph will give us the table. You touch each button one at a time. You do second and then you do graph. So second graph, and it takes you to the table. We're going to fill in this table with values. So it starts out with x being negative 2. So I'm going to go up. Yep. So go ahead and write that down. Then negative 1, 1.5, 0, 3, which remember that's our y-intercept. 1, 6, 2, 12. So I got that directly from the table. This is kind of like a cheat in a game. You can go straight here. Use it. All right, we're going to plot all the points that we can. So I already plotted this one. That is my y-intercept. Now let's plot 1, 6. So go over to 1, up to 6. 212. I cannot graph 212 because that's way up here, which is off the grid. So I'm going to wait on that one. Let's go backwards. Let's go to the negative side. Negative 1, 1.5. So negative 1 and 1.5 would just be halfway between 1 and 2. So see how I put it? And then negative 2.75. So this is halfway. That'd be 0.5. So it's going to be halfway between those two, closer to the 1. It's going to look like that. All right, so now look back at the graph. So remember what it looks like? we are going to draw this. Remember, it's going to never cross the fence, which is our boundary of the x-axis. So we're going to do like this, kind of go along the bottom. And then it's going to go upward. So this should be more curved. But the more graphs that we do, the better we'll get at it. Okay, so it kind of looks like that. Make sure you put arrows on both ends. Okay, so that's the graph. Now we just need to answer the questions. So our x values are just increasing by 1. And then our y values. Look at our y values. Let's start at the y-intercept, 0, 3. It goes from 3 to 6 to 12. What is the change in the y values? What's happening from here to here? But what is it being multiplied by? 2. So our change in our y values is multiplied by 2. Or we could actually say just doubled. So you can write either one on there, multiplied by 2 or doubled. Okay, our asymptote, we're going to draw our asymptote with our highlighter or marker. In Algebra 1, we will only see it as y equals 0. So put it on the x-axis. This is y equals 0. That is our asymptote. So y equals 0. Okay, domain. See how we have arrows going left and right? Remember, domain is our x. So I'm going to put a little reminder here, x. Domain is left to right. So I look at the left side. It's going to go on and on forever to negative infinity. Right side, even though it's going up, it's also going out, up and out. So it is negative infinity to positive infinity, which is all real numbers. You can do the R with the extra line on it. All real numbers. And then the range is y. So we look at our range. It is low to high or down to up. So we see how far down does it go. Remember, we have this fence of the asymptote here. So it's at 0 or larger. So that means y is going to be greater than 0. Okay, when you're given this question on a test that you have to graph on the computer, you want to graph, I'm going to use my highlighter again, the y-intercept for sure, and the second point after that, so at the 1. These 2 points are the points that you're going to make sure that you graph when you graph in an exam or something like that online. Highlight these 2 points. Those are the points that you're going to graph. When we do it by hand, we can graph as many points as we want, but when we do this in the computer while we're taking a test, these are the points we want to make sure we get. Okay, let's go to the next one. Y equals 4 times 0.75x. So we're going to do a couple things by hand first before we put into Desmos. So I'm going to label A and B. Where is it going to start on our y-axis? 4. So start at 4. Then we look at B. Is it going to grow or decay? Decay, yep. Decay factor is 0.75. So it's going to get smaller a little bit at a time. So one thing we can go ahead and graph, we know for sure, is our y-intercept of 4. Put your y-intercept of 4 because that's our A value. All right, let's put this in on Desmos. So y equals 4 parentheses 0.75 raised to the x. Make sure you raise it to the x. If your graph doesn't look like mine, it's because you didn't put it in correctly. Remember, we use that carrot top, which is on my computer shift 6. I see a lot of people without that on their Go Guardian. All right, looking better. Y'all doing okay? I'm recording my lesson. All right, so let's go to this little edit list because we want to get a table of values. So hit this, hit the table, and look how it populates a table for us. We're going to go ahead and write these down. So 7.11, 5.33, 4, 1, and 2.25. Fill in your table. All right, so we know it's decay. It's going downhill. It looks like that. Oh, it is. Thank you. Oh, sorry. This is 3. Sorry, I got confused. All right, so let's go ahead and graph these points. So I already have 0, 4. Let's go up to the next one. So 1, 3, 2, 2.5. So 2 or 2.25. That would be 2.5, right? So we want to go halfway between those here. What if I want some more points? I can get some more points on there. You know what we can do is go here and push enter. And it automatically gives me 3, 4. If I keep on hitting enter, it gives me more and more points. It populates it. So it looks like 3 is at 1.68. So it's like that. All right, so we want to go back up, go over to -1, 5.3. So I'd say it's about right there. And -2, 7.1. So remember how this is supposed to look. It's supposed to look like a curve. Do not draw a straight line. So it's going to go like this. So just try to make it curved. Don't make it straight. All right, initial value. Let's go ahead and fill in our stuff here. Initial value is 4, which was our A value. Our y-intercept, y'all with me? Yep. 0, 4. Growth or decay? Decay. What's the change in the y values? It's decreasing, yeah. Yeah. So multiply by 0.75. Yeah, I abbreviated that. All right, asymptote.
Y equals 0.
Yep. Go ahead and draw it. Y equals 0. Okay, domain. Domain is X, range is Y. Domain is left to right. It's going to go out and up to infinity or negative infinity. It's going to go right to infinity. So our domain is all real numbers. As long as you have arrows going left and right to infinity, it's all real numbers.
Okay.
Then our range, it doesn't cross the fence. It's everything above the fence. So it's Y is greater than 0. So you're going to do the next one on your own, and then I'll give you your assignment.